Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the Just Run podcast with me, Rhys.
I mean, Nathan Marshall.
This week, me and Nathan just going to have a chat. We like to do this after races, challenges and things like that we've run, just to have a little bit of a debrief like we did with the Epona. So this week we're just going to chat about, obviously, Nathan taking on the colossal challenge of the Welsh Coastal Path. And then me taking on the EDDUM 52 miler on the weekend just gone. Just be good to have a little chat, talk it through, and for anyone listening who's considering doing those races, just give you a little overview of where we went wrong and what to do better next time and what to take away from it. And otherwise, just laugh at us and the pain that we went through. But thank you for tuning in. And yeah, Nate, last time I spoke to you, mate, you were somewhere in Anglesey.
Was it carrying a boat at the time?
Yeah. Doing your best David Goggins impression. I'm not going to lie to you, mate. Every single time I spoke to you, you sounded like you were in a world of pain. Every time. And that something just wasn't right. So just from the outside looking in, I'm just going to be 100% honest with you as a friend and a fellow runner. Do you think that this challenge mentally is what defeated you, not physically?
No.
You don't think mentally it beat you, no?
No, because I was able to get through what I wanted to get through each day, get up the next morning and be like, really, right, I'm going to go. It was the only thing that stopped me was that infection. Because I remember rolling down my sock and just seeing it was bright red and it was like pulsing. Every little cut and blister, I had pus coming out of it, really crappy pus as well. And as the days went on, the infection, you could see the red line was moving up my leg. And I just thought, nah, this could get serious.
Shit, man.
Because when they measured it in the hospital, it was actually 7 centimeters bigger than the other one in circumference. It was that swollen.
The ankle was it?
It was, around the bottom of the calf by the time I got to the hospital and the infection got up, yeah.
So for anyone who hasn't listened or tuned in previously, so Nathan took on the Welsh Coastal Path with the intention of getting the fastest known time. It's 880 miles. And what were you, day 6 you got into?
Day 6, 250 miles.
Yeah. And then, unfortunately, as he was just explaining, got a bad infection, rolled his ankle because of the terrain and everything, and came across a huge amount of challenges that you weren't really or can't really prep for. So that's interesting. The reason I asked is because, like I said, some of the days I spoke to you, most days there was things going wrong. But you seemed defeated on some days, but then at the end of it, you were like, fuck it, I'm carrying on, and you carry on. So that's good to know that it didn't defeat you, and that we'll come back to it, but I'm sure you're going to do it again and give her another go. But so physically then, what was it like getting up? Because I know you've done Why We Run, but what was it like getting up consistently for 6 days over that amount of time and doing those mileage? Was it difficult?
I was fine. I was up at 4, 5 o'clock every morning. The only pain I had each morning was literally the blisters on my feet, but I had no aches, nothing, no DOMs, nothing. I was able to just look after my feet and go, which did surprise me, to be honest. But yeah, I was fine every day. Day 2, I was a bit stiff, but after day 2, within an hour, I was good to go.
That's mad. So your body had adapted to it and gone, this is what we're doing now, and I mean,
yeah, it was fine.
That's mad. You've shown you can do it over multi-days with Why We Run and stuff, because it was basically double the amount of days. That's really good. So takeaways from this then. What would you change next time?
Van and a car, because we had the camper van and sometimes it was too big because they put height restriction bars everywhere going down to the beaches. So you just couldn't physically get the van down the road because it was just too tall. So a car next time, because there was times when I had to miss a stop where the van just couldn't get to me, so I had to go an extra 10 miles to the next one. I was always carrying extra couple of calories and bottles of water just in case that happened anyway. But it kind of stepped a bit because it was so long in between like each checkpoint for me. It was a lot of slow miles, which they were the hardest, to be honest, because the amount of shingle and pebble beaches it was just crazy. And the amount of like fields where you think, oh, that's lovely terrain, runnable. It looked great, but underfoot, it was so chewed up by cows. It was hard to walk without like not rolling your ankle.
And for anyone who doesn't know, you cracked me up how on the way you literally text me saying, "Forgot my fucking bag, haven't I?"
Yeah. We got to Wrexham, and I'm like going through my head of everything. And I thought, oh shit, I forgot my vest, so I didn't have anything to carry my water, nothing. So we had to get in at Chester, run into Sports Direct, and literally it was closing. The shutters were coming down. So a couple of minutes later, I would be buggered. So I slid under and just got 2 belts. So yeah, that was touch and go there.
And how were those belts?
First couple of miles, couldn't get on with them. But then once they like settled and like where they were bouncing around, I actually quite liked them. Yeah, I quite liked them because it's not on your back. So because when you get you got your vest on a while, it hurts your shoulders after a while, doesn't it? So it's like weighting you down, but I had none of that. So I actually quite enjoyed running with the belts in the end. So everything was like around your waist. It was great.
I mean, it probably would have been better, but yeah, I get what you're saying because it's lower down the body, so there's not as much weight on you and resistance and stuff. And obviously, when you're doing those kind of miles every day, the less you can carry, the better, I suppose. But I mean, it's funny how you remembered everything, as far as I'm aware, unless you forgot anything. But that is probably one of the most vital bits of kit, other than your trainers.
Yeah, because I remember getting to Tenby, going through the whole van, like checking every little cupboard, nookie thing. Right, I don't need that. I don't need that. But I forgot that I hang my vest up behind the driver's seat on the peg. And I just didn't even think because it was in between the cab and the back. Terrible.
Mate,
Terrible.
that is. You live and you learn, mate. You live and you learn. And I know that you had your mum and dad there, in driving to checkpoints, which is great, and your son meeting you. But in terms of crew and stuff, how did that go with your mum and dad? Did it work out better than you thought, or was it quite challenging?
Quite challenging because they didn't really sort of like get the fact that quite often I would come in like really fucking moody. So they took it quite personal. Or like I'm running out of water. They were like, oh yeah, it's only another like 8 miles. And I was thinking, yeah, but that 8 miles could be 2 hours for me. They just didn't get it. And without water, you really slow down and everything, don't you? The calories. They just didn't get it. But overall, they did okay. Yeah, they did okay.
Yeah. Was it nice running with your son? Because how many days did he do? Did he do every day with you? Or?
No, because there was when we were looking at the map, there was so many points where it was just like miles, but before we could pick him up, it was just too far for him. So I think on day 3, he managed to come out and run with me. Got into Holywell, and he sort of like dragged me for another 7 miles into the actual town centre, which was good. Because I was ready to sort of like pack it in that day, because that was the day when I just come across like so many bulls. Pass which we just had all the hedge just left in them. It's the day I got all this massive splinters in my shoes and gone through my shoes. So yeah, I was just done by that day. But he got in and goes, oh, come on, Dad, let's go for it. I was like, oh, okay, awesome. So yeah, it was great. He got me to Holywell. So yeah, I really enjoyed that.
That's awesome. And going back to your mum and dad, so do you think that next time, do you think the problem was more that, I mean, your mum and dad, obviously, you only get one, and it was awesome that they agreed to do it. A lot of people wouldn't, but like, do you think you need somebody on the kind of the same wavelength who understands that on the days when you're struggling, you need someone to kind of say, pick yourself up, I can get out the van and get going, and have that kind of like-mindedness? Because obviously the parents, but I don't know if they run or if they've ever run, but is it because, like you said, when you say to somebody, it's only 8 miles away to the next water point or wherever, like in running terms, 8 miles is a long way, especially when you've been on your feet all day. So do you think it would be like you get like more of a like-minded crew who have done something similar before?
No, because towards the end they were getting it then. It was just the logistics side that made it hard.
Okay.
It's like really hard. It, I get texts like, can't park there. There's nowhere to park. I have to reduce like just down the bay. We're just down the bay with like 2, 3 miles on the corner. And yeah, that was frustrating.
Yeah. I suppose it was awesome that you were doing it with your mum and dad as well. So if they start to get a hang of it, and also because they kind of have an idea now going forward of what to expect because they've seen you do some of it, yeah, it'd be good to do it with your mum and dad. I mean, again, not a lot of people get to do this, especially not with their parents. So it's good to have them along for the ride. That's awesome. What do you know how many calories you burnt throughout, and like how was your hydration and your food and stuff? What did you eat and drink?
The calories a day, I was going through like burning about 9,000 calories. The day I did 56 miles, it was like 11,000 calories for the day. I was consuming about 4 or 5,000 calories a day, and
Okay,
I was just through like normal foods, like loads of sandwiches, crisps, square bars, just anything really, anything I fancied. I didn't take one gel all the way.
that's fair enough.
In terms of water, I was getting through about 8 to 10 liters a day, drinking half a liter every hour, hour and a half. Yeah, that worked really well. And salt tablets, I was taking about 4 or 5 a day. And then when I started going to toilet, I that triggered me. Right, I'm starting to get dehydrated here because I'm obviously getting rid of the water that I actually need. So then I'll pop a salt stick in, and then back to normal.
That's
So
good.
yeah,
So were you putting any tablets in your water, like electrolyte tablets, or were
yeah.
you
So
taking machines? Or...
I'd have 2 tablets in the morning, which was 230 milligrams of sodium, and
Hmm,
then every aid station I'd have one tablet where I'd have another 130 in a bottle. And then I had one of my bottles with another 130 grams of sodium for the hour and a half. Yeah,
that's
it
good.
worked out really well. I didn't get any cramps, nothing.
That's good. That obviously helped towards the DOMs and stuff as well, then, because you were keeping
Yeah,
your muscles and everything hydrated.
yeah, definitely. I couldn't
Mm.
believe because after day two, I was trying to work out how many liters of water I've been drinking because I knew that we had to stock up. And I was like, oh shit, we're going to have to get like 2 5 liter drums a day just to get
Mm.
through each day. That's a lot of water they got to pick up in that one. So like in the next stop.
That's a lot of water. You got to be careful as well. I mean, you've got to find the right balance because you can get
Yeah,
hypernutrement, which is where I don't know the science behind it, but you drink so much water that you essentially um, drink the sodium out of your bloodstream or your blood system. So then you haven't got enough salts and sodium in your system, and then it's the reverse. It is the reverse. It's actually counterproductive. For anybody who's listening who knows the science behind that, I probably said that wrong, but I know it's something like that because I was speaking to at the EDDUM, I was speaking to Sean when he did. Sean, if you're listening, sorry, mate. I think it might have been the Pigum or was it the EDDUM? I can't remember, but he messed his hydration plan up. He was telling me, and he was hyponatremic, and he said he was stood the next day. I think he felt shit afterwards, and the next day he was stood in like his porch of his house and didn't know where he was. He was like completely discombobulated, really lightheaded, dizzy. Like it was, yeah, they messed his system up completely. So it's something to do with that, and then the other one is rabda, wouldn't it? Which is where you don't drink. Is that when you drink too much or not enough, and then you get that the pee that looks like Coke.
not sure, but
Yeah,
I'll look it up and I'll put it on here as well.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Because you don't want any of them. Basically, if you got
no,
any of them, I feel for you.
it was quite funny because on day one, right, you look on the map and you think, right, the park. So closest place to park is like by Chester's football stadium. So you look down the path and you think, oh yeah, it's only like that far on the map. No, it's a fucking mile walk to the start, just down this like concrete path, and it just went on and on and on. So that was an extra mile I did without just like hitting my Strava.
Oh,
And
didn't
it,
you? On the one day you rang me and you were livid because you'd forgot to restart your watch and you just lost 4 miles.
no, it's I think it's where I put my headphones back into their case, the like chargeable case. It had paused my Strava.
Oh.
And after about half an hour, my parents were going saying, "Oh, what's the matter?" I was like, "What do you mean?" Well, nothing's updated. So I looked at the watch, and it was like, "Oh shit, it's paused." So I pressed start, and it just did a straight line to the bloody coast. That was frustrating, but I'd done extra
Mm.
miles anyway, so it all counted.
But then if you'd done the FKT, would have registered, you know what I mean? Because you'd missed out on a
I
bit.
don't know, because I did those extra 4 miles on day one anyway.
Oh yeah, okay, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so it would have been total miles and stuff. Yeah, so I
Okay.
don't know. Um, but yeah, it was just day one and two brutal because it was just all concrete um, and flat, which was just nuts. Lots of wrong turns due to just incorrect signposts everywhere. And the signposts just didn't make sense because, like, you could see the coastal path, yeah, it take you like a mile inland along the road. It's like, what is this a footpath or a cycle path? I'm not really sure. And it's quite interesting because there's a guy called Steve. He's currently running the Welsh Coastal Path, and he's doing it self-supported. And he's posting pictures and like stuff every day saying this does not make any sense. He's getting to a post and there's like two arrows for the footpath going off in different directions. He said none of this makes complete sense. Like every day, he's like, these signs are not pointing where the footpath is going. So he's having the same problems, which I'm quite glad about, that it wasn't just me.
Yeah. It's reassuring that it wasn't just you cocking out
Yeah,
completely.
yeah. But it's so confusing, especially around Anglesey.
I can imagine.
It's really bad.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Um,
it was stunning, mine, some of it. Stunning.
I can imagine. I can imagine. We'll come to the best parts and stuff in a bit because I'm definitely curious. But what did you wear on your feet again? What I can't remember.
So day one and two was ultras. They were like a road trail shoe. And then when I did eventually get some trails, it was my Topu.
Okay. And
They
how did the ultras fare?
um really nice actually. Yeah, quite nice. Quite
Okay.
smooth, soft. Yeah, I like them.
It's
I think
good.
they
And you
may have
said
been a bit size too small though.
they're a
Like
bit too small.
yeah, I got them a size extra, but I think with all the swelling and everything, it just still wasn't enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
Well,
wasn't enough. But the toe boots were fine. Yeah, really grippy. I was quite surprised then.
nice, man. Fair. And what did you when you were getting back to the van and everything? Obviously, you were shoveling food and stuff like that. Were you doing any kind of yeah, like Epsom salts or stretching or anything like that at all? Or do you have a chance to do anything like that?
So it'd be straight back, straight on with a thing of electrolytes, and just start eating as much as I could, like pastas. It's just anything really. And then as I'm eating, I'm soaking my feet in Epsom salt. But I remember on day one, I got back and I didn't realize I had blisters. And my mum had pulled one of the strappings off at the bottom of my feet and pulled a 2-inch blister off. So I went through the fucking roof.
Oh, I bet you
So
shouted.
yeah, and it stung like hell. And when I put it in the Epsom salt,
Yeah.
oh, it was
And you were
nasty.
like, oh bloody hell, mother, that hurt quite a bit. Jolly
Yeah, it was nasty.
mate, that's rough. When you put your feet in those Epsom salts and you've got basically fresh wounds, open wounds. Yeah, it stings like hell for a bit, doesn't it? Then it just goes numb.
On day one, I said to my dad, Dad, I want cold water so I can soak my feet. I thought that'd be great. Dipped them in. Within 2 minutes, my feet were in agony. They were so cold because obviously there's no blood in them, was there? So I was in so much pain just from sheer cold. Oh, I
Oh
was in agony.
god.
Uh,
God.
I
What's your
did
go
go
on?
on. I did really enjoy the experience. It was just nice, sort of like just having that routine of like getting up, getting dressed, running, stopping, eating, running, sleep, running. It was nice, really nice.
It was. What's your best moment? What's your favourite moment of the whole thing?
Um, Favorite moment. And my son when I was like absolutely dead and buried. and the top of Holywell Mountain at like 5 in the morning. I got out nice and early, got to the top. I didn't realize it was that high, to be honest, as well. Got to the top after about a 45-minute climb on it. And you could see the whole of Anglesey out in front of you. You could see like down into Cardigan Bay in the distance. And then right in front of you, you had all of Snowdon Mountain Range with Snowdon. And then if you look left, then you can see where you'd come from, like Chester and Colwyn Bay and everything. It was magnificent. I stood there and I did have a tear in my eye because it was just so like awe-inspiring. It was crazy.
Not surprised.
It was stunning.
So, are you going to do it again? Are you going to try again?
Of course, yeah, definitely. I know I can do it. So yeah, next May.
Next May?
Next May, yeah.
Okay, and what are you going to do it in terms of the approach, like differently in terms of training?
Training more concrete.
Yeah.
More concrete, yeah, because I trained a lot of my stuff on trail around Garth and Forest Fowler, thinking that it's a trail path because it's the Welsh Coastal Path. But out of those 215 miles, about 170 of it was concrete. It was
really?
Yeah, it was horrendous. Like when I got on the trails, I felt fucking amazing. But some of the roads, they were like Roman roads. You could just see for like 4 or 5 miles in a straight line. It was like, oh my God, just didn't feel like you were getting anywhere. So yeah, I need to find more roads like that and just do a lot more concrete.
That's insane. That's insane. It did look great. It was great because I called you most days, and yeah, you were showing me the views and what you were looking at and things like that. And a couple of times, I think one of the times you were like walking across this random boardwalk through like beautiful area of this just like natural conservation, like, and just showing me the view. And I was like, oh, that's just. I think it was quite late in the evening actually.
Yeah, and that was around Red Crest Bay, which is like 6 Mile Bay. And I was on like an old seawall. It was like a concrete seawall where they sort of like try and reclaim the marshland. It was sunset and everything, and I was dying at that point. That's why I had to ring you just to sort of like as a pick me up. But it was quite eerie around there. I got quite like spooked up. So I was walking along the seawall bit, and I kept on hearing like someone walking behind me with cowbells, just a couple of meters behind me. I kept on looking around. There was no one there. There's no one for miles. But yeah, it was literally like a couple of foot behind me. It just freaked me right out.
Maybe that's the ghost of other people who've attempted the Wales Coastal Path
Probably,
and never.
Yeah. Yeah. Who've jumped in the sea and killed themselves because of all the concrete.
Yeah, you've had a tit full of the road, and that's
But
or a hallucination. Who knows?
So many beaches were just like shingle as well, really loose shingle. So it was worse than sand because you were just sinking into it.
Really? So it's just when you're trying to plant your feet, you can't, can you? You just slide.
You're just going backwards, yeah.
No, that's horrible.
Yeah, it was the slow miles which were the killer because you just knew you weren't making a lot of progress at the same time.
Yeah, and then it feels like you're just going backwards, isn't it, as opposed to forward.
Yeah.
Well, mate, I mean, you got out there, you gave it a go, and I think, like most people that we've had on here and guests and stuff like that, I think everyone needs to get a DNF at some point or walk away from a race, not necessarily defeated, but just holding their hands up and saying, I can't do it. Not right now, I can't, but I will do it next time. And I think you now know like how much you've learned just from 6 days. You've learned so much now about what to do. Maybe you need to also go and run in some fields with bulls to get over that fear. And
oh, so many. It must have been the breeding season. Like every field with cows in, there was a 3-ton bull who looked like he was on steroids.
You're not considered just, casually, very chilled, walking past them? They wouldn't have hurt you.
Well, I tried that in the one field because I got to one field. I could see it in the distance. I was thinking, oh, please don't let the path go through there. Got to it, and the path had to go through there. So then you sort of like snake your way up with your eyes, looking for the other markers in the other styles. And I thought, oh shit, that's going through about like 100 cows along there, and it's on a cliff. So if they charge me, I'm jumping off that cliff. I got no chance. So I made a point of just walking into the field, standing there, seeing what the cows would do. So then I walk a bit further along the outside, still nothing. Then all of a sudden, two pokes their heads up and starts charging me. I was like, oh, for God's sake. But I had to leg it back to the way I come and jump down a 12-foot embankment into like all nettles and a stream at the bottom, which then took me on another like mile-and-a-half detour because I had to go around the field. Oh, it drove me nuts. And that happened quite a lot.
Your rants about bulls, man.
And I was when I got back, I was editing Scott's episode last week. And we talked about cows so much in that one, and how dangerous they are.
Yeah.
You've got to go listen to it again. We spoke about 5-10 minutes about it.
About cows.
Yeah.
Well, isn't there like, you'd have to, again, I'm not correct on this, so don't quote me, but if you Google it, aren't there like more people killed by cows than like anything else in the UK?
Yeah. Yeah. And then where there wasn't a bull, it was cows with very young calves. I was like, oh, no. It's not getting better for me.
So in America, they got bear cubs and then mother bear. Over here, we got calves with bulls, basically.
Yeah. I think I'll go run with the bears.
Fucking good luck, mate. I'll be here with the bulls. You can take the bears. Like that.
I got attacked by a pheasant as well.
Shut up.
Yeah. I got to a place, so I've just gone through a field full of like bulls. Don't know how I got through it, but it was like really gingerly around the edge, so like ready to jump over the barbed wire electric fence. And then I got to a little path, and it was about 50 pheasant hens in front of me. So they all disappeared apart from this one, who then just followed me up the path about 500 meters. So I looked down at it, and I think, oh, what's he doing? And just after I turned the camera off, feathers are up, claws are up, and he's trying to peck me and claw me. So I had to kick him in the head to get him away. Well, get him away.
Mate, I run up around Hereford and stuff like that when I go up to see the in-laws, because that's where they live. And they're everywhere up there, and I call them ninja birds, because they literally, there'll be nothing there, and they'll like dive out of the fucking bush and like scare the shit out of you and run at you and fly off quickly. But then they disappear again completely, and then like a mile down the road just show up again, and I swear they're invisible. They just turn invisible, they show up, they wreak havoc and attack you and then leave.
Oh yeah, he jumped at me, so I put my foot out, caught him. I thought, yeah, have that, you git. But he did walk. Well, she did walk away, so no pheasants were harmed in this.
Maybe that's the
stunned, but not harmed.
Maybe that's why you got a cut in your ankle. Maybe it was one of his claws.
No. A lot of the trail was really like overgrown, really bad.
Yeah. How's your leg and your foot now?
All the infection's gone. Still on antibiotics. Swelling's gone down a bit. Well, a lot, but still there slightly. Ankle, I'm putting weight on it. It's fine. I just can't like raise my big toe up towards my chin.
So for anybody who doesn't know, what was it that actually, when you went to the hospital, what was the outcome
of the ankle?
Yeah, what was so you had an X-ray, didn't you?
Yeah, so it's fractured at the base of the tibia.
Jesus, that's mad. Along with cellulitis, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I managed to run 100 miles on that.
All right, you'd have to keep reminding me. I like how you keep reminding me of that. So I'm never going to live that one down, are we?
And I was carrying a boat at the time.
You're not allowed bragging rights yet until you've actually completed it, mate. So you can keep that one.
But I've got to say that the support I had off Alan was just incredible. So if anyone doesn't know Alan, the running monk, he's currently got a record, and he'd message me 2, 3, 4 times a day, just encouraging me, saying, "Oh, you're about to see this amazing view. Keep going." It was brilliant. For someone who could have lost the record off me, and to be that supportive is just amazing. So thanks, Al.
Yeah,
Means a
he's a
lot.
top guy. Fair play to me.
Yeah.
Me and him were messaging and stuff, and they did. Yeah, fair play. Well,
Yeah.
well good, well done, man. I mean, here we are talking about it, and hopefully this time next year you'll have the FKT. Who knows? Just
Yeah. Obviously, I
yeah,
was gutted that I had to like pull up. But I'm at peace with it because the reason I had to stop was kind of taken out my hands. It wasn't anything to do with like my mental toughness or anything. It was just like it could have got life threatening because the infection was that bad. I remember
yeah,
going to the hospital, like rolling my tracksuit bottoms up, and it was sort of like, oh shit.
yeah,
It was big.
yeah. I can imagine. And the thing is, you don't want to be causing any long-term injuries or putting yourself 6 foot under for a run, mate. To you, as much of a life-changing experience as it would be, you still got to come home to your son, mate, and your dad and a husband first, and you're a
Yeah.
runner.
So
But
sprains, blisters, and breaks, so like it's only short term, really, on the grand scale of things, isn't it? But yeah, it could have got quite shitty for me.
exactly, you did the right thing, mate. And it takes a big person to actually get to the start line and even consider and plan for a big run like that. But it takes an even bigger person to hold their hand up and say, my health is at risk here. Like you said, it wasn't as if you were pulling out because you had DOMs and you were just aching. You can push through that. You've done it before. But yeah, when it's risking your health, like we said with Matt, and I think we spoke about it with Scott as well, that there's the difference between pain and discomfort and then real danger. And the thing is, like you said, you had to get back to the van and you still had to be a dad and a son. And what's the point? There's no, it takes a bigger man to do that, mate. So well done. I mean, you gave it your best shot, and this time next year you'll be doing it again. So
Yeah,
you learned a lot, man.
good. And so like after I finished, I had to spend a few days in Tenby, with the hospital and everything. So I took the boy down to St David's to Celtic camping where it's where everyone is. So we spent a couple of days down there. It was just lush. Sunsets were amazing. My brother gave us a wicked pitch on top of the cliff. Yeah, it was stunning.
Wow, I saw some pictures and videos, mate. That's what I mean. That made up for it, mate, didn't it? At the end of the
It
day, you
did.
weren't going straight back to work.
Yeah, I was surprised at how emotional I got walking into the place. Because I haven't been there since like October last year, but it got really emotional. So I was just walking back in, just having those memories come back.
I can imagine, mate. And also, you were probably quite vulnerable, and your immune system was shot
Oh
to
yeah, I
shit.
was
And
knackered.
probably
Yeah,
high off antibiotics.
yeah, yeah, I was knackered.
Well, mate, well done, man. That's class. And have you had any blues since?
um, yeah, Monday, Thursday, and back in work. I just felt really back in work. It just felt like nothing had changed.
Hmm.
So I had to sort of like think like what's actually changed, and just from like when I started. So yeah, I started like listing everything positive that's come from it already. So yeah, that got me back on track. But I think from the last, well, a couple of episodes ago, we talked about that the Cardiff Road show, running show,
Hmm.
that there isn't one, and now that's just come to light.
Hmm.
After talking on here, we've had the Bristol Running Show contact us, and they've set it up. So October the 5th at Sophia Gardens, there is going to be Cardiff's first running show. So they're currently getting a list of vendors together. And so we'll just keep you posted on that. But yeah, Cardiff, Sophia Gardens, October the 5th, the day before Cardiff Half Marathon. So it can be a whole
Yes.
weekend of running.
Yeah, cool. That's me. We manifested it, and here it is. And I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of people with independent brands that I'm sure could get a lot from this and get the exposure they need, or from all over the UK. So, and also it's just bringing the community together again and just expanding the community. Like I'm so surprised that the capital of Wales has not got its own running show yet. It's taken its time, but I'm glad someone's finally decided to make a move and do it. So yeah, really good. Looking forward to that a lot. Be interesting to see who goes and what vendors and stuff will be there and stuff. Hmm.
Yeah, I think they're sending me the list by the weekend of like what vendors they've already got lined up and everything.
Awesome.
But
It's exciting.
I think it's actually going to be a free event as well.
Good. Good. That's really good. I do like that about the when they do it in Birmingham and places like that, they usually send out quite a bit in advance, like sign up to the newsletter and get two free entrants and things like that. And it does work. I don't think I've ever paid to go to one of them because I've always managed to get on the newsletter, like all the subscribe or whatever, really, and do that. So they'll probably have a similar thing, I'd imagine, but they shouldn't charge because it's their first year. They don't know what it's going to even be like. Um, so they should give an opportunity to people who don't have necessarily the money to buy tickets just to go along and be part of that community. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. So
Mm.
we've also got I know I spoke to you earlier about it, didn't I? So I'm going to try and manifest this for the new year. So we want to put on a running weekend for people. So it'd be 3 nights down in Pembroke where we'd have 3 days of running, yoga, workouts, and like lectures and stuff around. So like ultra running. So if you're actually interested, let us know because we're trying to put something together, and it'll be
Mm.
epic. It's stunning, really useful for everyone as well.
Yeah,
So
bringing the community together.
please let us know. Yeah.
Yeah, drop us a message on you, drop us a message personally. It's literally an idea that came out today, so it's very, very early stages, but it's completely possible and plausible. And the more interest we get, the more likely it is to happen. So, yeah, keep us posted. Well, drop us a message and we'll keep you posted on here. Definitely.
So
Good.
how did the EDDUM go? Did you did you beat your demons?
I beat my demons. Yes, I claimed redemption. Yes. Yeah, it was great, mate. It was awesome. And a lot of things went wrong at the start. I I left the house far too late, not realizing that it took so long to get the bloody Bill Wells. Because the start, so this route was speaking to Luke Merritt, who's done it for the past 2 years, I think. He said the route is basically a new route. It started in Bilth, ended in Bilth, and it cut off certain portions of the race. Obviously, I don't know which portions it cut off without going back and looking at the GPXs from previous routes. But it was stunning. But my God, was it hard? And like, so from the start, I got up early, had breakfast, but left too late. And in essence, it left me rushing into the registration hall to do my quick kit check and get my bib on. And it's stressful anyway when you're trying to think that you've got everything and go through all that. So I think I left myself like 20 minutes spare till the start, which is not ideal. I didn't even have time for a toilet break. That had to come later on. Um, and then to make it even more worse, when we were more worse, make it worse. Anyway, we were stood having the race briefing from Ali, the guest race director. I get my obviously my GPX up, press start, nah, got a bug. My phone crashes, my watch crashes. I was stood next to Shaw and he goes, "Is it saying this, this, and this?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I've had it before, mate. It's fucked. You need to completely re-download." I was like, "What do you mean?" So I'm stood there with 5 minutes, not even that, to spare. She's in the middle of telling us, like, the race, the safety briefing, and I had to twice delete her off my watch, delete her off my phone, restart both. Luckily, we were in an area with a signal. Re-download the whole route twice because it still wouldn't work. And finally, when I hit start, oh my God, the relief when I hit start and I saw the map come up. So yeah, I put it this way, I was glad to start running because I just thought everything was going to go wrong. So that was shit.
How
um,
quick did you go out this time?
I didn't go out too. I took my time going out there because I knew I didn't know what to expect, but I knew it was just 50 miles. So what's the point, didn't it? But I do know that John Ayres and Jenks, they went out far too quick, and they ended up burning out very, very early on because of it. And that's not just me saying it. You can speak to Jenks about that. They went a bit too quick. I think they were both first for like a couple of miles, and then they backed off. But yeah, it was. I tell you what, it was. The first section was 7 miles, I think, of hills on concrete coming out of Bilf, which was unexpected. There's a lot more roads at the start of that than I expected, and also like kind of like fire roads, if that's what they're called, like that kind of terrain. And I
Like
think
gravelly terrain.
yeah, really gravelly
Yeah.
terrain. Like one thing I do need to say before I go any further is that, my God, am I grateful the weather held out, because last year was just a washout. This year, not a speck of rain all day. It was windy where it needed to be windy because it was cooling us down. But out there, you're so exposed. So there's sun cream on very regularly, very, very warm at times. Absolutely incredible. But I think the one thing that a lot of people agree with was how relentless and consistently challenging the terrain was. Like, similar to what you said about farm tracks where it's been chewed up by tractors and cows and stuff like that. But it had gone hard where they hadn't had rain for a few days. So it was perfect ankle rolling territory. You had to be really switched on at all times because there wasn't any like cliffs or anything. Yes, there was mountains, but there wasn't any cliffs or anything to worry about. But there were so many other things to consider. Like if you took your eye off your GPX for 1 minute too long and the signal dropped out, it turned into an actual navigational nightmare. Like there was so many times when you just like, it's fucking telling me to go down that way, but there's a big sign saying "Do not enter live firing area," and you're like, I don't want to go that way, and you end up clambering through ferns and stuff. And there was a few navigational nightmares. Going back to the fact that you're literally on a Ministry of Defence, the large or third largest in the UK, so you can hear gun firing, and then you see the odd soldier, running across a field with a gun and stuff like that. And then on top of that, you had grass that was either really long, like up to your ankles and sharp, or freshly cut and was like running on sand. So your legs were just destroyed. Like it was so thick and dense. Not to mention then the amount of hills and elevation that were also not just straight up, but at an angle. So when you're running at an angle, if you know, mate, like it kills your feet, and it squishes your fucking little toes like against the sides of your trainers because you're running at that angle and your whole form goes out the window. It was tough. And then on top of that, you've got like anthills everywhere. It's funny because my uncle was down over the weekend actually, who's ex-military, and when I said to him, "Do you know Sennybridge?" he was like, "Do I know?" Yes, I do. And when I was talking to him, he was very aware and laughing at me because I'm there in an Innovate bag, which is what, 10 litres, in barely any clothes. And he was like laughing at me, thinking, try doing it with a 30 kg bag on full kit in the heat or in the rain or in the snow. And he was saying they called the anthills and stuff babies' heads because they are literally the size of, they're only small, but they're everywhere in the long grass. So you're running, like, trying to plant your feet, but you're like wobbling everywhere like a bloody jelly on a plate. And again, perfect ankle rolling territory. So the terrain was the hardest I'd ever run in. And I was so, so grateful that very early on in the race, I met up with Emily, one of the girls, and we kind of had a similar pace. So we stuck with each other. And then Steve, shout out to both of you. Really good, really strong runner, lovely girl. And Steve from Warwickshire, I'd never met before. Steve,
The one with the ginger beard. Yeah.
Steve.
I watched his video this morning of the edit.
Yeah, he's a great guy, lovely guy. He's doing the UTS Ultra Trail Snowdonia 100 next year because he's got enough points to do it. Really good runner and just both lovely people. And I tell you what, the amount of times that we turned to each other and said, like, thank fuck we paired up, because it's one of those races I wouldn't want to be at the front or at the back by myself. I really wouldn't, because it's really challenging. mentally. It was a really warm day, and I think there was a lot of points where you could just throw a towel in and say, I'm just not enjoying it. I'm not enjoying it. You need somebody there with you.
Was it sunny or
All
just
day,
warm?
all
And you
day.
still didn't
Sunny.
get suntan?
No, mate, I was putting. I got. I buy babies 50 plus. It's like putting clotted cream on me, mate. I'm overly sensible because I don't get tanned. I burn really badly and blister. So I was just, yeah, except for the end when I put a vest on because it was just getting too warm. I was plastering myself in it. Um, it was every now and then you'd see clouds, but it was humid, which was mad because it is very exposed. Um, I tell you what, everyone who knows will do this, and you probably came across them as well. Fucking purple thistles, like millions of them, like, or as I refer to them, they're spiky bastards, because they're just everywhere. And like, as if it didn't hard enough running over the baby's heads, or whatever you want to call them, and through the hard terrain underfoot and stuff, you've then got to account for the ducking and weaving and diving and dodging of these purple thistles are sticking in your ass and in your feet and your legs. And it's just Rhys chose such a good, incredibly good challenging route. Throw in there the fucking odd, random, cheeky little bogs or marshes full of sheep shit. They're wonderful. When you just trudging through long grass, and all of a sudden, oh great, you're up to your knee in literal shit water. So that's brilliant. That's wonderful, especially when you've got blisters on your feet and you're thinking, that's grim. I have open wounds on my feet that are now covered in shit. Great.
I think that's how I got the infection.
Yeah, it's got to be me. I mean, little things like that you don't think about it at the time, but it's a very, very good, beautiful route. Incredibly challenging. I want to give a shout out actually because I ran for a bit with John Hayes at the beginning, Jenks, lady called Anne Marie, who's lovely. Finally met Luke, run fast, live slow, who nailed it, by the way. Did a sub 11 hour, really, really good. John Beeks, who nailed it as well, ran with them for a bit. Andrew James, I saw at the start line.
I know. What was it, 20 hours for him? Which is just nuts to think that he had the mental power to get through that.
Mate,
that's just phenomenal.
Started at 7 a.m., finished at 3 a.m. And
crazy.
One thing that I consistently said throughout, and I think anybody would, I would not want to run that in the dark, ever. You couldn't pay me to do a night run through there with just a head torch, because I think how people didn't break their ankles and stuff on the train, I do not know. And then you're worrying about your battery going, and you're looking out for these yellow posts throughout the whole thing that you've really got to stick to, because on a normal course, if you go off route, yeah, it's a bastard, you've got to backtrack. On this course, you end up in a live firing zone and there's bombs going off and mines you've got to worry about and stuff. And apparently, speaking to some volunteers, there were some people who took a bit of a stroll into some dangerous areas, and people had to go out and pull them back in and say, you're off route, you need to get back on route right now. You've got all that to contend with in the evenings. It's just a different course. There's got to be nothing like it in the world. You're running in an active firing zone with red flags flying and military running around and stuff. So, but fair play to Andrew. I spoke to him since. His attitude, like, he's got such a winner's attitude. He wasn't defeated. He said, I never thought I'd come away from a 20-hour race and miss it. Like, he genuinely loved it. Like, there's not many people who've come from the journey he's had and just nailed a 52 miler and did it over that kind of length. And I think I've got to shout out to anyone who finished that late. There were some people, Terry, who walked it all, who did the Canham. He's finished at 6:45 the next day, 24 hours. Like, they are the real heroes. Like, fair play to them. That's a long bloody time to be on your feet on a course like that. So yeah, it was phenomenal. And again, I got a shout out to Emily and Steve, man. We had such a wicked laugh, and too many times have we said this, but I got to say it again. I knew nothing about any of them. I've seen Emily at some of those races. I'd never met Steve, and it was just like running it with friends that I've known for years. Like you just connect on a different level because you you have to. You've got no reason not to. You're thrown out into, I want to say, the wilderness. That might be a bit of a silly word to use, but you're thrown out into this vast land in the middle of nowhere. There's just sheep around. You've got no reason but to get on and just push each other through the tough times, and that is exactly what we did. So yeah, and speaking to Emily, she's been on a few runs since. Like she's nailing it. She's thinking about doing 100K soon, like some race soon, and she's doing the slam. So she's got the rhythm coming up. Rhythm. So it's honestly, it was just amazing, awe-inspiring. Luke, I mentioned he caught up with us at the end, and I know he won't mind me saying he was miles in front of us. And we caught up with him at checkpoint 3, and he did not look good, man. Like, and he'll admit that he was as pale as milk, and was like having a coffee, sat there. He just looked defeated, and we said our goodbyes, and me and Emily and Steve went off, and he caught up to us, and he ran the remainder of the race with us. But again, he won't mind me saying this. You know, he couldn't keep anything down. Not even everything he drunk, he couldn't keep down. He was throwing up. I don't think he ate that much, and anything he did eat, he was throwing up. I don't know whether he messed his hydration and food plan up or whether it was just his body on the day. But he didn't look good, and he said he didn't feel good. I think it was a bit of a death match at the end for him. So, but fair play to him. Like we ran in together, and I've got to say, I was pissed off at the end. It's the first sprint finish I've ever done on a Pegasus Ultra after 52 miles because I ran pretty much the whole thing with Emily and Steve. Emily had a bit of a bad knee, so I was kind of running off a little bit and then like kind of waiting for them and doing it that way. And I said, no matter what, us three are crossing that finish line together, and we were all agreed on that. And I ran to where I thought the finish line was, which is the Scout Hall, which is where we had our registration and stuff. Me and Luke both ran there. Nobody there. Because we were at the wrong fucking finish line. It didn't finish there. So we both look at each other and go, what's happening here? Where's the finish line? We turn around and somebody's like, it's back down there where you started in the park. So I'm really pissed off because now I can see, like from the distance, I can see it. And I think I can see Emily and Steve are finished because they were looking for me and I was looking for them. So now me and Luke are sprinting back now. And I'm talking like we picked it up. We went. Two of the guys randomly appeared out of nowhere and tried to take over us. It went like carnage. We were running through a cemetery, right? I was grave hopping. I was like, sorry, running through this cemetery, trying not to stand on anything. Burst through the gates of this park, and these guys picked up the pace. And I was like, nah, I don't like running fast, but if I need to, I will. And I had 52 miles in my legs, and I went at it. And you can speak to Kat Fenton and a few of them, like it was a proper sprint finish. And I've never done one on an ultra, but I was so annoyed that I didn't get to finish with Emily and Steve that I just put my head down and did it.
Did you have a nutrition plan?
Yeah, well, I had a lot left over from the Epona because I haven't done any big runs since. So I had like a couple of zip bags full of some gels, precision fuel and hydration bars.
Chews, yeah.
Yeah, tubes, that's the word I'm looking for. What else did I have? Oh, the blocks, the cliff blocks, things like that. And so my plan was I had my precision fuel and hydration 1,500 the night before because it looked like it was going to be a warm one. And then I had one on the morning with some porridge before I left the house and some coffee just to get the ball moving, you know how it is. And then I had precision fuel and hydration 1,000 tablets throughout the entire day in both bottles, all day. The only time I didn't have it was I was starting to get a bit pissed off with just the sweetness of everything. I don't find them that overpowering in fairness, but I just wanted water. So with I think it was about 10 miles or less, left of the race, I had one which had pH 1000 and one just had water in it. But I drank that all day. I never felt thirsty at any point, or like I wasn't glugging the water down or anything. I felt great all the way through it. And considering it was a hot day as well. And the only things I ate at one of the checkpoints, I scoffed a little bit because Emily and Steve will vouch for this. I couldn't stop fucking belching afterwards. I had loads of pineapple, watermelon, chocolate tea cakes, they were weird but banging, like small, straight in crisps. I had a bag of crisps, I think, and I had a handful of nuts. But I didn't hang around checkpoints. I was literally in and out. I was taking some of Matt Grill's advice, and I didn't hang around. Like it was, I think a lot of that was down to Emily. Mine, she's a tank. I'd get in there, I'd be sipping on some coke, and she'd be outside waiting, and I'd be like, "All right, fucking, I guess we're going." So
I'm sure she's podiumed a few times this year.
I think she has. She at one point during the race, she was fourth, I think, or she got told that she was fourth, and she was like, "Oh, buzzing! Like I'm just here to run. Like it's fine, awesome. I get top 5." But then I think she came 6th or 7th. A few people took over, I think. But yeah, the only thing that let me down, like I had, like my knees were a little bit tight and stuff, just standing aches and pains. But the only thing that let me down was my feet. I felt really strong. Like I said, to be able to pull out a sprint finish at the end is something unheard of for me. But I just think because of the bogs, the marsh, the long grass, my socks were soaking. I felt my little toe, my left foot go at one point, and we had to stop. And Steve, fair play to him, had some of the proper blue tape stuff, which I wrapped it up with. And that was better for a while. Then I felt one go on my big toe. Then I felt one go on the base of my foot and my other little toe. I felt my little toenail go. Lost that in my sock. And I think it was a little bit of, I was a bit naughty. I should have changed my socks because I wrap my feet up better than I ever have in the morning with tape and stuff like that and plasters and lube them up and everything. But I don't know what I did wrong. I really don't. I think it was just the wet, moist socks, the wet, moist trainers. I didn't have spare trainers. But I am kicking myself. I should have stopped and dried my feet towards the end because they were really bad. But I'll be honest with you, like a lot of people, I just didn't want to look at them. I did not. I knew that they would be horrendous. So I just sipped on Coke, refilled my water, and didn't bother looking at my feet and just powered through. But I've really suffered with them since that. First time wearing socks was today because I've been doing Epsom salts 3-4 times a day. I've had to get my wife to cut some skin off my toes, which was not the best for me or her. But yeah, it was, also shout out to Kev on that point. Good old Kev, he had my feet up on his legs at the end and got his kit out and was laughing at me as I was screaming and wincing in pain as he does. And then
He didn't run, did he?
No, he didn't run it, mate. No, he didn't. He was up most of the checkpoints, though, giving his hugs. You know what it's like. One thing to take away from this, if you suffered with bad feet and the rehab. So when I got in, he'd wrap my toes up lovely, and I texted him and I was like, I don't want to take these off. They've wrapped up lovely, but I need to shower. Like I want to shower, but they're going to get wet. And he was like, get in the shower, they'll fall off naturally. Please soak them. And I was like, fuck's sake. Didn't get into like 11 o'clock at night. So I had to soak my feet. And he said also, put them in some green tea. And I was like, you're obviously having me on with the green tea. And he was like, I'd shit you not, I would not lie to you. So I Googled it. And yeah, because this anti-inflammatory, antioxidants in green tea, you can chuck a load of tea bags in some warm water. Please don't stick your feet in a hot cuppa because that's just stupid. And you're an idiot if you do that. And bathe them in that. And he said it'll tannulise them. Don't know what that means. Harden your skin, is it? Not sure. But yeah, it worked a treat. Like they were sore, but it worked a treat. It definitely calmed them down a bit. But yeah, all in all, absolutely brutal, incredibly challenging, and I have no problem saying this because a lot of people have. over a shorter distance, that is harder than the Epona 100. Definitely, like without a shadow of a doubt. Like if I'd gotten to that mileage on Epona, I wouldn't have been able to finish the race. In the state that my feet were, if I pushed through, I would have been an absolute idiot, and I would have been crippled for a week or more because my feet were in such a bad way. Towards the end, like I said before, I pulled the sprint out. I was almost limping, like I was wincing in pain every footstep, and that's 52. So imagine I had another 50 miles left in the Epona, and my feet were like that. I don't think I could have done it, and that's all down to, the weather was great, everything went in our favour, but it's just the terrain and the type of land that you're on. It was so difficult. So anybody who wants to do it, you'll have the best day of your life. It is incredible. Pair up with people, make it an adventure and enjoy it. But just be prepared for some real brutal sections. Like, it's fucking hard. Yeah, it was great. Did you see my Hoka trainer?
Yeah. What did you catch it on? Barbed wire, is it?
No. For anybody who hasn't seen the picture I posted, I got Speed Goat 5s. I've done less than 100 miles in them. And when I got home and I got to bed the next day, I washed them, I hung them up in my washing line to dry and everything. And I could see something on the bottom, and there is a gash on the bottom of the shoe through the thickest part of it, like basically towards your heel. That is, I don't know, big. It's big. I could probably fit like 4 fingers in it, and it had a bunch of stones in it, and it just keeps going. It's really deep. So I dread to think how close it would have been to my skin. I don't know whether I'd stood on something sharp, like an old rusty pole, or I don't know, like a bit of barbed wire left over, because there was the odd fence and barbed wire that you had to watch out for. You had to jump over the odd bit of fence post. I don't know what it was.
Maybe.
Slate, but whatever it was, it sliced through it like butter, mate. They're ruined. Like, I can still wear them because they've still got enough grip and stuff. But I think it's completely fucked the structure of it now, because
It'll spread out, won't it?
It's going to spread. Yeah, and also, in the wet and stuff like that, like my feet could be dry, but with that's going to let water in. So now I can't afford a new pair, but they've completely ruined. They're ruined. So yeah, that's pissed me off a little bit. Yeah, one thing I will say, me, Emily, Steve, and Luke had to do a bit of a Dr. Dolittle with a sheep. If you don't like sad stories about animals, stop listening right now, because it might trigger you. But it was a very sad moment where I saw a sheep that was laying between like a rock and a fence. And I was like, "Oh, don't look over there. I think it's a dead sheep." And Emily was like, "No, it's moving." And it was a little ram, it was. And we went over and it was moving. And me, Steve, and Luke and Emily, basically, it wasn't huge, but we picked it up and tried so it could stand, because it looked like it just couldn't move. And when he tried to stand, his back leg, I think, was broken, or he'd done something to his back. He'd fallen and he couldn't stand, so he just kept falling over. And where he was stuck in the same position, wild birds had plucked at his eyes. It was not pleasant, man. It was really sad. This poor thing was still alive. If his leg was fine, he could have run off. But he had a real bad injury to his face. And I took my flask out and I was trying to pour water in his mouth, because he looked really thirsty. He wouldn't have any of it. He was quite scared and frightened and in shock, I think. But leaving that poor thing behind, because we couldn't do anything. Like, what was I going to do? Chuck her over my shoulder and run another 20 miles with it? It was really sad. Put a bit of a downer on it for all of us. And Emily was going throughout the rest of the race, "Am I going to die because I touched the sheep? And then I think I drunk with my bottle. Am I going to die now?" But it was a sad moment. But again, that's the reality of this. It's such dense, vast land. I just hope that a farmer got to it, mate. That's all I can hope, before any more birds, because it was really sad. Not to put a damper on this, but we're back now. If you don't like listening to animal things, you were back. And that's it,
So,
really. Yeah.
how did you find Ali Bailey?
Oh, sorry, just got to say, I'm drinking Northern Monk beer. There are other brands available, but I'm Daisy Hayes Northern Monk. Bloody lovely beer. Hazy Pale Ale. If you fancy sponsoring the Just Run podcast, get in contact. Anyway,
Carb loading you.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, good. It was good to have her as a guest race director. She definitely humped everyone up. She was in a Wonder Woman outfit. Was very straight to the point and telling people what not to do and stuff. In terms of, like, she was literally like, if you come back to this finish line with any sort of bullet or ammunition casing or anything, you will have time deducted from your finish. Like, you will be the time added on even. It
Yeah,
is
it's illegal offence to bring firearms off a range.
So it was because a lot of people are like, oh, look at this, I'll take this home as a momentum, and they're out
No,
their way.
because each
No.
soldier's got to do a declaration as they leave the range saying they've got no firearms or pyrotechnics and stuff.
Yeah, so we can't do that as ultra runners. So yeah, she was very strict with that. She gave a good race debrief about everything, and then she went on to talk about women in running, which was again very straight to the point. And what she said was very true. A lot of people, again, will take what they want from it. She said that obviously women, she said a lot of points that are completely 110% absolutely true. Women should have more rights in running. You know, we need to look out for them and stuff like that. Yeah, that's all I'll say on that.
Do you think she's preaching to the wrong audience in South Wales? Because I know the Pegasus splits are pretty much 50-50 all the time, aren't they?
Yeah. Okay. I'll say it. She's a lovely lady. She does a lot for the sport. And me and you, as with every guest on here, and as with every ultra runner I've ever met who is a male, I look out for and I support, you know, the female runners wholeheartedly. And I 110% believe that there needs to be more equality in running, and there is not enough for them. 100%. The fact that you can defer a race because you got an injury, but you can't because you're pregnant, I think is absolutely disgusting. And those race directors need a slap in the face. So I 100% support that. I think what happened was it needs to be said, but as you've just correctly said, the Pegasus ultra running community is an absolutely fantastic community, and I have so much respect for it. And the rate of women who compete in it and the finishers, yeah, it's like 50-50. Sometimes it's more women than men. And we all look out for each other. We all look out for each other. And that's the way it should be. So it's not so much that she's preaching to the wrong crowd. I just, I don't know. I don't know what to say without I'm not trying to be controversial. I think that she's saying the right things. It's unfortunate that she needs to say them, basically, and it's unfortunate that she needed to say it at the start of that race. So yeah, that's all I'll say on that. I'm not against what she said. I just think that it was a bit of a shock because normally it's a sing-song with Rhys Jenkins and then it's done. But yeah, her up on a rock in a Wonder Woman outfit, it was a bit different. I'll give it that. But she made a point. So yeah, that's all I'll say on that. And I hope I haven't offended anything or anyone, sorry, I should say, because we're all allowed our own opinions. Yeah, so it was a bit of a tough one because it's tough to hear somebody say that about women in sport, because it doesn't matter what sport it is, like it should be equal. So it did kind of, I think it took us all back because every single male on that, you know, starting line is there alongside the women supporting each other. It doesn't matter about the gender. And I think it takes you back a bit. And yeah, it's sad to hear. It's sad. I hate the fact that anyone needs to stand up and say, look out for women, be there alongside them, support them. It's horrible that anyone has to say that. I wish you didn't. But unfortunately, it is still something that needs to be put to bed in ultra running and every other sport. So, yeah, it was a bit of a shock, but I commend you for doing it. And I'd be interested in hearing what other people thought about it. So, yeah.
Drop your comments below.
Keep them PC, please.
Yeah.
If you say anything stupid or nasty or whatever about equality and gender and everything, just don't say anything at all. Just keep it PC. Like, we're all here. We can all be friends and have different opinions. It's fine. But yeah, it was all in all. My takeaway is I won't do the EDDUM again. It's not happening. It's not happening. Because if I went back and I took longer doing it or couldn't finish it again, I'd be back to square one and I'd have to go and do it again. So I've done it. I loved it. I ran with great people. I met some amazing people. And yeah, I'm happy with it. It's ticked off now. It's done.
So what's going to be next for you?
I don't know, really, because it's supposed to be the Hateful Eight, and obviously I was supposed to be doing the Cardiff half as well. So I kind of shot myself on the foot there. And then we got the running show. Fuck, I don't even know. I don't know. This year, I was going to go out with, what's his name? Terry Rosman, is it?
Oh, yeah.
And do the 75
biggest cock
mile.
and balls, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to do that because I got a lot of respect for that and for what it stands for, and it's fun. Next year, it's a whole different conversation. Who knows? I've got a few things lined up, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm toying with the Ark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep toying with it, mate. I'll leave you toying with that one.
I just want to see what the recovery is like on this ankle first.
I was going to say, mate, you should be just concentrating on the Welsh Coastal Path. I was thinking of...
I'm looking forward to getting back to the process, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
Getting those training miles in. So, yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that. Well,
like we always say, mate, enjoy the process. This crossing the finish line will never feel as good as you think. It's always going to be... It'll be great, but ultimately, you need to enjoy the process because it's a long process. And if you don't enjoy it, then you're in the wrong sport. So, yeah, enjoy it. I was going to look at... Well, I would love to do the Ultra Trail Snowdonia 100-miler. Really want to do it, but I was...
It's about 175 quid, isn't it?
Well, it's not that. I'll reserve my comments on the process because I don't like the fact you've got to have all these stones and points and shit, and unless you've got them, you can't do the 100-miler. You can do the 100K, or the 50K, I think, but that's 209 quid. I think the 100-miler is 289 quid. So
yeah. I was looking at all the options yesterday, actually, about it. There's loads of them.
It looks like a beautiful race, and I've never been to Snowdonia, so I really would like to go up there and do it. What better way to explore it than on foot? And also, it's tough. I mean, shit, it's like 28,000 feet or something crazy. Like, it's tough. So I'd love to give it a go and test myself. But unfortunately, A, I don't have the money. And B, if I was going to do it, I would want to do the 100-miler. So maybe I'll consider doing the smaller ones and seeing if I can get my points up there. And it'll be something to consider another time. But I don't know. I've toyed with the odd idea of Wild Horse 200 as well. So we'll see.
Nice.
Said I wouldn't do it, but I'm not sure now.
You've done the 100, so it's your next option, really, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, you did the 100. It's only another 100.
Yeah. Well, have you seen that Gertlash are doing a backyard ultra down Cosmeston next year?
No.
Yes.
What?
A medieval backyard ultra. I think it's March or April time.
Mate, yes, we gotta go there.
I know a lot of the running punks are already talking about it.
Yes, guys, get involved. Gertlash, he's a wonderful guy, and we've had him on here, and he does a lot for charity, and I'm sure this event will be the same. So he keeps it very fun and medieval. I mean, come on, that's going to be class.
You can just see him. I can just see him. So, on a bottom mountain bike with a big what they call joisting stick and a
Joust.
helmet, just riding around.
And on the end of the joust, stick like a gel or something.
Yeah.
Have that.
I could just see him now.
Yeah, that'd be a great. I really want to do a backyard ultra because everybody I've spoken to said it's just a really good atmosphere because obviously every single lap you do, you end where you
You
start.
see someone, yeah.
Yeah, your car's full of food and stuff. There's people having barbecues, music playing, and because you're constantly coming back the same one, family can come along and camp and friends. And Cosmoston's super local as well, so that'll be good. Everyone get involved. We'll drop a link on here and we'll speak to him. That'll be amazing. It's exciting. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Banging.
Yeah. I think it got launched this week or last week.
Sweet. Okay, guys, thanks ever so much for listening. Draws this episode and Welsh Coastal Path and EDDUM debrief to a close. Just want to say thanks so much again to anybody who's listened to the previous episode and tunes in, week week out. It means so much to us. Please, if you can, and if you get a chance, please like the videos, take the time to comment. We don't bite. We appreciate every comment. Whether it's to give us feedback or whatever, or ideas for future episodes. But yeah, and also what we spoke about as well, with regards to putting on the event. Please comment and let us know what you think. And yeah, keep showing up. Thanks ever so much for your support, guys. Take care.
Cheers, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Cheers.